All right, guys, welcome back to AGA. We've got a great game here today. It is King Domino.
Kingdomino's awesome. I love
Kingdomino.
Kingdomino.
It is amazing, isn't it? It won Board Game of the Year in 2017, and it is a tile playing game. Super fun. You're just basically building your kingdom using a 5x5 grid. So
Yeah, so you have these little tiles. You build it. Actually, on the back here, you can see it, and we'll pull them out here in a second for you as well. But these are the little tiles, and you're kind of building them around this little kingdom, your little castle.
Little castle, yep.
And so, before we get into that, we keep forgetting to put it in, and so we have to insert it in later. We did a board game, our game night, where we played the last 10 board games of the year, the Spiel des Jahres board games of the year from 2010, 2019. Kingdomino obviously being 2017, so it's one of them. And we played them all in one night, which was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
We wanted to do it just to see which ones rose to the top as the best ones and which ones kind of fell to the bottom as our not least favorites, but the ones we didn't like as much, I guess. And so it was really awesome. It was very insightful, and so we'll link it up here as soon as it's live. But we'll get back to the video now, but it was really awesome. So let's talk about how many players. So what is it? 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Yeah.
2 to 4. And I think it's really good. I think it holds to 2 to 4. Great for 2, great for 3, great for 4. It doesn't really change much. It changed a little bit with 2 players. Okay, so yeah, one of the things that it does say is it recommends 8+. I don't know. I think that's a little low. Of course,
agree.
Can an 8+ or can an 8-year-old play this game? Yes, probably they could, and they could do an okay job.
They would understand the concepts of putting the
Where to
sheet
lay
or
it,
putting the field next to the field and stuff like that.
But would they really understand everything else? I don't know. I would say a little bit higher than that. 10, 11 maybe would be a better age, but 8+ could definitely play. 15 minutes. So I would say it pretty much holds true to 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
It does not take that long, and this is one of the things we like the most about Kingdomino. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but after we talk about kind of what it is. So as I showed you a second ago, this kind of shows you on the front as well. You have your little castle there, and you're building all these different types of tiles. Here, one of the little castles. So he's pulling them out. Little castle, and we'll roll in pictures as well so you can see.
Yeah.
But there's just all these different types of tiles that you can grab, and they're worth different number of points. And so the way this game works is, like Dan said, you're building a 5x5 grid around your little castle. And so if you have your castle down and you're building a 5x5 grid, you're trying to connect the different tile pieces of the same type. And as you do that, you're in points. And the way that you're in points, you just basically, if there's a little crown on it, that number, the number of crowns you have, there they are, number of crowns you have, times the number of tile pieces of the same type that are touching will give you a score for that kind. And so there are some variants, some things where if you have 2 of these things in 2 different sections that aren't touching, those are 2 different areas. But if you have all of your brown pieces touching, you multiply the number of brown pieces times the crowns, and that's your score for the brown. And then same thing for these green pasture type things. And then at the end of the game, once you've built your grid, you get a certain number of points, and there's some bonus points you can do at the end as well if everyone completes it or their castle's in the middle, things like that. But it's really quite simple. You pull tiles, you put them on your board. You pull tiles, you put them on your board. You're trying to get points. There's not much more to it, right?
Yeah, nothing more to it. That's it.
And so what would you say if that... I guess we should say it's very simple for that reason, but hard. Again, the theme that always comes back in these videos.
There it is.
Very simple to play, very hard to play well.
Yeah.
And so this I would see more than most games that we've talked about. It kind of encapsulates that concept where it's so simple to play. You're pulling a tile, you're putting it on. You're pulling a tile, you're putting it on. But to play well and to play strategically, it's much harder to do.
Well, and here at AGA, we love those board games. Those are our favorite type of board games because of the fact of we love simple games or simple concept games.
Yep.
But that are super hard to play well or to win at. We love them. They're
Totally.
our favorite.
Totally. So I think that we said that's what makes it fun. Probably the same reason that what makes it replayable.
Yeah.
I like to replay this game because, again, tiles come in different assortments. The way you choose them, we'll roll in a picture of how you choose them. But in essence, what happens is there's a set of 4 that you can choose from.
Yep.
And then a set of another 4 that you'll choose from next round. And when you're choosing them, depending on it, they layer them from the worst tile to the best. Basically no crowns
lowest number because they're
numbered on the back.
They're numbered on the back, and so you always do
The lowest number to the highest number.
The lowest number to the highest, exactly.
And the lower numbers are like they don't have crowns or they're a less ideal piece versus the higher numbers are better. And so if I'm first to choose and I choose a high number with more crowns, that means on the next round when we're picking, I get to pick last. And whoever was the worst piece gets to pick first. And so that way that you choose really changes up how the game plays, and which tiles come up in those sets of 4 changes how the game plays. And so it's extremely replayable for that reason. It's just fun, right?
It's a lot of fun.
And I would also say, so if we're talking about some unique aspects of the game, I would say that way that you choose tiles is probably the most unique thing about the game, in that you kind of disqualify yourself from going first if you decide to pick the best tile. Whereas you're like, if you want to be strategic, you're like, this isn't a good assortment. I'm gonna go with the first one so that I can have the first choice on the next one.
And what's unique about that is eventually everyone has to choose the higher numbers because that's where all the crowns are, right? And so no matter when you choose the higher numbers, you'll have to choose last the next time. So I think that's what's unique about it, is everyone always gets a chance to pick first and pick last, because that's how it
goes. I mean, usually that's what happens. There are times, though, I would say there are times that I've seen like somebody just always, because it comes up just the right way, someone always goes first. Like, hey, there's a crown, there's a crown, there's a crown, there's a crown. That's and true. Somebody is always last. There have been games. Now, generally that doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. And so, so let's say cost, I don't know, $30?
Yeah, I think it's like 15
to 20, whatever. Yeah, actually it is cheaper, isn't it? It's cheaper than some of these others, which is awesome. It makes it even better value.
It does.
Because it's so fun. Give them one reason to buy. What do you think?
There's so many, because this is my favorite game. But I would say that one of the reasons to buy this is how easy it is to set up and clean up. And then on top of that, like sometimes me and my wife, we just want to play a game after the kids have gone to bed, and there's not that many great 2-player games, and this is a great 2-player game. You use less tiles, and you can set up a different 7x7 instead of a 5x5. So there's different rules.
That would be another thing too. You're right.
But it is a great game to play with just 2 players, and it's just as fast. 15 minutes, maybe even less with 2 players, because you're just like boom, 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 placing it on there. But I would say that's one of the reasons to buy, is because it's a great 2-player game, but then it's just as great with 4 players.
Yeah, I agree. I would say for me, I think the one reason to buy is something we've covered already, the time commitment. A lot of times people don't want to play games or don't want to get into a game because it's like it says it's 45 minutes to an hour or whatever. And it's fun, it's great, but do they want to commit an hour? Now, we play hour-long games all the time, and it's fine. But Kingdomino at 15 minutes, I would say it holds that, maybe 20. And it's just not that much of a time commitment. So it's like, dude, it's 15 minutes, just come play.
And it's only 20 with new players, you know?
Yeah, so it really is awesome that way. And so if that's what you're looking for, a really simple game that's fast, but also strategic and hard to learn to master anyway, this is the game to buy.
It is.
All right, you guys. Thank you for subscribing, for those of you that already have. For those of you that haven't, you really just should, because we're going to make some awesome content. We already have some awesome content on the channel. So check that out if you haven't seen it. Subscribe, and we will see you next time.